What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday, so you know it's weekly reads and rankings. We read your comments while also getting an opportunity to get ranked by AJ Black himself. We know that it's always a spicy time. Who will he have in the top spot this week? Who will he have close second? Will it all be people from the Atlantic? Find out on today's show.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper. Thanks so much for joining me today. Joined by AJ Black from Locked On Boston College. We are rocking and rolling here with our weekly reads and rankings. Say it 3 times fast on this here Wednesday, giving you guys a great opportunity to talk about your favorite teams around the conference. Now, AJ always gives us a nice little surprise, so I'm hoping that the top 5, bottom 5 is nothing different this go around. AJ, how we feeling?
I get some changes I think that you're going to be happy with, and I'm doing whatever I can do to not talk about Boston College football for a week. So let's get into it.
1,000%. All right, so we are going to start with our lower teams because I think that it's very important to just go get those out of the way.
All right, if we have to. All right. So as I just said, I don't want to talk about BC, but we'll start with BC. The bottom of the barrel right now is the Boston College Eagles.
You think so? You know, I thought it was going to be close between them and Georgia Tech, considering recent events.
Yeah, I would think so too, but I'm going to go with that Georgia Tech had literally nothing going for them this year, and they still have nothing going for them other than they don't have a coach. Yeah. And BC was many people projected them as the dark horse of the ACC, and they are god awful.
They're a horse, all right. They're a horse right out the stable or right into the parking lot, a little bit past, and they're just not getting it like they should be. But it's a little blip, blip on the radar. We're gonna keep it rolling. Right, Candace. I'm sure there's a lot of blippity blips going on when they're in Chestnut Hill. A lot of people are stressed out. We're talking about on yesterday's show with Kenton Gibbs how the fact that the priorities are there. Like, we want to be good. We know Boston College can be good, but it's just nothing is hitting. It's terrible. Yeah.
I mean, that Florida State game was awful. Like all three. I mean, the first play of the game was a kickoff return touchdown.
Yeah.
Djokovic throws an interception 3 plays later, and they're down 24-0 before you even, crack a beer.
I look at that and I'm like, okay, the first play they run for a touchdown, or they run it back. You get punched in the mouth, you bounce back, you figure, okay, that's going to be their one flashy play of the game. And it just was really, sometimes it's either that or it's downhill for the rest of the day. And there was certainly the downhill side of it. And just like Boston College, come on. So the worst of the worst, but things could potentially look up. All right, who's next?
All right, then it's Georgia Tech. I have Georgia Tech at number 4.
That's fine.
Props to the president for making the moves that he did, getting rid of Stansbury and Jeff Collins. I just want to use my pulpit right now to say that I hope that Georgia Tech goes back to the triple option.
Thank you.
I love it. You know what? Like, teams that are not like the blue bloods, right? That are not the Clemsons, that are not the Ohio States. Sometimes you got to get gimmicky, right? Yeah. And Georgia Tech found their identity under Paul Johnson, and they made ACC championship games and were very good with the triple option. Now, it's not the best for producing NFL talent, sure, but they still had Calvin Johnson make it through that program.
Hello.
And you know what? Just go find that identity again. Go and get the head coach at Troy Calhoun, whoever else you want to get out there that can do something like that.
Yeah.
And have some fun with it and really just lean into it. I think if you can, you're in Atlanta, you can recruit at a high level there. You can do it with that kind of stuff.
Absolutely agree. I think you hit it right on in terms of being in Atlanta. Like, it's already flashy. It's already a different vibe there. You might as well just make it your own. So whoever comes in, he's certainly going to have to make it his own and try to turn that program around because it's in desperate need. And surprisingly enough, Jeff Sims is still one of the top quarterbacks in this league. So whether everyone else is having a bad year, I don't think that's the case. I think Jeff Sims he just needed a leader to help him be put in better situations.
And whoever walks into that situation with the new ACC scheduling and the crossovers is walking into a landmine. I mean, they 2 games a year they're going to play Clemson and Georgia. That's already 2 losses. I mean, unless you can really get yourself to that level, like you're Wake Forest, you're even Syracuse when they were playing better. That's tough.
Yeah, 100%
you know that
agree.
You're already looking at 2 games on your schedule where you're like, well, we're not winning those ones.
Yeah, 100% agree. All right, that's the bottom 2. Who we got next?
All right, UVA is number 3 for me.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
they should have beat Syracuse on Friday night. Yeah.
Yep, they should have, and they didn't. And it was a good game, but
we did see improvement. We can give them that.
Yep. But it was so funny. David Hale of ESPN put out a graph that had the ranking of all the QBRs for all the quarterbacks in the ACC, and the 2 bottom, I believe it was 2 or 3 of the bottom 4 were Tyler Van Dyke, Brennan Armstrong, and Phil Dracovic, 3 that many projected to be at the top. And just how crazy the season has been in terms of how topsy-turvy it has been for them. And, you see Dracovic for BC being real bad, and you're seeing Armstrong, really struggling with what he has now in that system. And it's just not both guys. I better kicking themselves going, man, I should have went pro last year.
1,000%. And I think not only from an offensive standpoint, but defensively during that game, Virginia, especially Nick Jackson getting that targeting call was such a game changer, because him being a leader of the team that's already very in desperate need of a good leader, you can't have him go down, right? Just setting yourself up for disaster. So it was a long day. You definitely saw flashes and moments of potential, but I still think that they need to figure out how to do a complete game against a really good opponent, and it could be there. Still time in this season. All right, who's next?
All right, I'm gonna go with Miami next, and I am really going.
I love that.
And here's the comment section. I can't wait for next week.
I was just gonna say I have a great read for you as soon as you're done with your reasoning.
Okay, so Miami. Let's just say it this way: you can get mad at me for putting them in the bottom 5. You're lucky I didn't put them even lower for getting your butt kicked by Middle Tennessee. Okay, so maybe people overhyped Miami, and that's fine. But the fact that you brought in the quarterback whisperer, Mario Cristobal, as everyone kept calling him there in the offseason, and he can't figure out what to do with Tyler Van Dyke.
Yeah.
There's no bigger indictment on your program than that. And you go out there and you get shelled by Middle Tennessee. I mean, yeah. And folks, don't get at me for being, I cover BC. Yeah. That's my job. So back with, your Boston. Well, fine. Yeah. They stink too. Okay. They get that out of your system now. They're bad too. Okay. Now we got that out of the way. Right. Miami is bad. And I don't know what the heck is going on with that program, but I will be the first to admit, Candace can go find the tape that I said the U was back. And we
thought the coaching staff would give you strong indications that it should be back. So
exactly.
Be mad at you.
Right. And you had a quarterback that you would figure could win you games, but when you lose like this, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, it's funny you mentioned Miami, because we had a Canes fan here, Mr. Willie Thomas, say you can hate on the recruiting Cristobal, which hasn't gotten to the school yet, and you'd be foolish. We'll chat at the end of the year in Charlotte. So he's basically telling y'all they're still going to make it, being the Coastal Division champion. He also went on to say, my Canes were ugly enough this week to be included in the ugly, but we'll still sit atop the Florida throne at the end of the year. So basically, they're going to still be better than Florida State when it's all said and done. And I'm like,
yeah, right.
Okay. Listen, and I am over here. Anytime I can rag on Knowles, I'm all about it, but not right now. They not even close, my guy.
Yeah, the way that playing right now, if I was a Miami fan, I'd just sit back and just take your lumps.
Just take that. Oh, he's a first year coach. He's trying to figure things out, and let that be that. All right, who's the next in the bottom 5? I
really could not find a 5th, and I was struggling. And there's a bunch of teams I could have put there. I'm gonna put Louisville for now.
Okay. I was gonna say North Carolina. They beat UCF, but North Carolina definitely deserves to be in the bottom 5.
Okay. I mean, yeah, yes. They lost to Notre Dame, but
they lost to Notre Dame after a bye, and they got their ass whooped to a team that lost to Marshall. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Okay. I'll take your word on that one.
You're the one who always tries to give me hope about Carolina, and I'm telling you, no, I have no more hope. I do not believe in that defense. Don't talk to me about that defense. I don't want to hear it no more. Like anyone tells me, yeah, glimmer of no, nothing. I don't care if Carolina wins another game this season. I'm done with them. I'm done. I try every year. I try. They
And
let me
it's
down.
crazy because you have the recruiting to start to slip in. I mean, who's it was Tony? Is it Grimes? I think that was like a 5-star cornerback. You have guys that are starting to come in that are elite recruits, and they still can't figure it out.
Jason Bateman is somewhere over here laughing at us over there in Texas, in Aggie land. Is it no Florida? Excuse me, Florida. He's over there in Florida land, laughing at us. Not to say that Florida's doing a lot better right now, but he is certainly sitting here saying, "Yeah, you thought I was the problem. I hate to break it to you." BetOnline.net is your number one source for football betting all this season. As always, it remains to be your continued source for all sports wagering information with live betting and up to the minute scores for every sport out there. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games, BetOnline has MLB, MMA, boxing, golf, and even more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn about all of the topics and trends. BetOnline is where the game starts. So rocking and rolling with AJ Black of Locked On Boston College. We're talking about reads and rankings. We read your YouTube comments as well as talk about the rankings. The top 5 here that we have going into the ACC of Week 5. So who would be your top 5? Let's start with the number 5 spot.
All right, so let me get myself a cheap plug on my Twitter handle because I'm going to read you one of my tweets and then get everyone on one side of this conference all pissed off at me.
There we go.
And we'll start it off. And this is what I tweeted 3 days ago. This year is a perfect example of why divisionless ACC is going to be infinitely better than what we have now. Instead of having some coastal team that is going to get rocket shipped by the Atlantic winner, we could have a rematch of Clemson and Wake in the championship game. So that kind of prefaces you where I'm going with this, Candace.
There we go. We got Wake Forest. Is number 5?
No.
NC State.
I lost my numbers. Where the heck did they go? I got my ADHD kicked in and I kind of went on to something else. There it is. No, I lost it again. Oh, here it is. All right. So number 5 is Syracuse.
Okay. I feel it. And the fact that Syracuse is not ranked right now is crazy, but I digress.
Right. They deserve it. I mean, they're a good team. And for the Boston College fans that follow me over here, I said it earlier this week, like for the folks that just want to fire Jeff Hafley and just, fire everyone. Like Dino Babers was a dead man walking for 2 straight years. And look at what he's 100%. Doing right now.
Yeah.
He is showing that if you give a coach that you believe in some faith, he can do some special things. And he's doing that. So all the props, and I know you're a big fan of Babers. Mm-hmm. He deserves to be ACC Coach of the Year, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. If they keep rolling like this, there's no doubt because we all went into the season voting Syracuse to be at the very bottom.
And they're going to be a top 25 team possibly. They'll be 5-0 after this week when they beat Wagner.
Right. And then number 2, we all were like, if he makes it to 5 games, if he makes it to 3 games, he might be out the door. Kind of like a Jeff Collins situation. We were planning for him to find his way out. So the fact that he's not only still here but thriving says a lot about some of the coaching changes he made in the offseason, as well as the offensive coordinator who's really helped Garrett Shrader do enough to where it's manageable, and Sean Tucker clearly is balling out, and then that defense is just super explosive. They're playing very well together.
Absolutely. They're playing complete football right now.
Yep.
They're going to be a tough out for a lot of teams, just the way that they control the ball, and they have the potential for explosives there, and that's all you need.
Listen, it's time to take Syracuse seriously. So if anyone who is not taking Syracuse seriously, I hope that you are doing it now. All right, number 4.
All right, I'm going to go with NC State here.
Okay.
They are not the prettiest team right now, but they're winning, and I think that's all you can. This early in the season, you get your bumps and then you figure it out, and they're outscoring teams 36-11 at this point, and have wins against Texas Tech and East Carolina, which I guess is decent wins. They really haven't played anyone yet.
Yeah, well, Texas Tech beat Texas, who almost beat Alabama. So, by happenstance, they're decent,
right? But I think the big test is this weekend, heading to Clemson. And
this is the game. To me, this is the game where it's who's going to win the Atlantic is pretty much in hand, unless people get super injury prone or whatever. But this is definitely the game.
And I want to thank the scheduling gods for the first time in the season. It feels like BC is not on at 8:00 at night. As someone who has to cover them, my body thanks you that I don't have to
Yeah.
stay up till freaking 1:00 in the morning recording and writing about this team. I can actually sit and watch this game. I can't
Yeah.
wait to watch NC State and Clemson
because
I mean, we'll get to Clemson in a second, but this is, I mean, I'm just as someone who covers ACC football once a week, this is one of those games that I'm just pumped about. There's 2 of them this weekend, and I think it's just going to be a really fun weekend for ACC football.
I think it's great to have a top 10 matchup between 2 top 10 teams. Not only that, but just to be in Death Valley, we all know what, college atmospheres are so essential to games that if NC State is able to pull this off, and I know Clemson is ready for that lick back after last year, this will go down, I feel like, in NC State history is one of the best, if not the all-time greatest game ever.
Yeah, with DJ playing the way he's playing and again making me eat my humble pie, like he looks good. He's hitting this. I mean, some of those passes he hit against Wake Forest were legendary. Those are Heisman level throws he's making.
Okay, Slim Cinco, we need to put him on a Heisman watch. I don't mind it.
I'm gonna say like he's moving up that list. I'm not saying he's there yet.
Yeah,
Hendon Hooker is my pick on BetOnline.ag. Go over there.
I love that. He is having a hell of a season too.
And I got that's who I got my early odds on BetOnline on, and I am like feeling good about that one because Daddy might be going to Caribbean this offseason. So
love that.
But
that is hilarious. Number 3.
All right, so number 3, I got to see I didn't see up close and personal. But I watched up close and personal as they absolutely eviscerated Boston College. I'm going with Florida State.
Yep.
And I said this in this offseason. This is what I kind of predicted. I thought Mike Norvell was going to get this program going, and he absolutely does. He's got some horses on that team. Guys like Jordan Travis is one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC easily.
Yeah,
and
Jordan Travis for Heisman. I say it every show. I just want everyone to know, all the Seminoles fans who listen to the podcast, Jordan Travis for Heisman. Because if you say anything bad about him, it's like you're coming for his neck. So Jordan Travis for Heisman.
Like Devin Leary to me has like that to win games, but like I feel like some of his like physical limitations aren't like he's not like the most gifted player. He makes his throws and when he has to. Jordan Travis has the gifts to make big plays and he has the it factor. So he has like everything. Like there were plays against Boston College, like BC got blown out all over the place, but there were specific plays he made that were like, wow, that's not on BC defense. That's on Jordan Travis making plays. He threw some passes that if anyone else threw it, it would have been an interception. It would have been an overthrow, but he just good timing on his passes. He's quick. He's agile. He's smart. And he's got guys around him like Trey Benson, their running back is a dude. That guy can run. And so I like doing, and I can't wait for this. Again, like a great weekend of ACC football ahead of us. You get to see Wake Forest and Florida State playing this weekend. Hopefully there won't be hurricane issues. And for those out there in that path, stay safe. Folks.
Yeah, for sure.
But if that game happens, that's going to be fun. I mean, like really, like we're onto like game 3 or 4 in the last 2 weeks. That's just like must-see TV for ACC football.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest parts of Jordan Travis's growth is actually being the man. Like he doesn't have to battle injury. He doesn't have to try and compete for his spot. Like he's actually getting the opportunity to be successful, stay with him. And even with that, hiccup with the ankle thing, he's right back to it. And he is the guy. So there's no question about whether or not he's the guy. And I think he needed that ego boost as well. So it's definitely paying off dividends. All right. Number 2.
Number 2 is Wake Forest.
Okay.
Only because they were like one play away from possibly beating Clemson. Yep, but absolutely. I was texting my co-host, well, not co-host, my guest. He was only on like once or twice a week, Mitch Wolf, who's big into the games. And he said, you know what? The end of that game was a perfect Wake Forest football encapsulated. Sam Hartman is exciting, but he lives by YOLO. Like he just, some of his throws, he just hucks them up there and hopes to God that they're going to make them. And he's got guys like A.T. Perry out there that can make those plays. But that last pass, I don't know what the heck he was trying to do, but that's kind of his MO. That's what he lives by.
Yeah. It's giving Patrick Mahomes without the accuracy, like,
right. You just throw it up there and see what happens. And it was 100%. A horrible play. And I don't know, but I guess when you have a guy that can make the plays he does 90% of the time, like you have to live
with it. Yep. Right. Exactly.
So
There's
he's still exciting as hell to watch out there.
Oh yeah, I think what also not only is Sam being great is that defense is finally stepping up and answering the call, at
Yep.
least making the game close. Last season, Clemson, Wake Forest wasn't even something that we talked about. It was just like
Right.
an afterthought. They played the game, Clemson did their thing, and it was like, all right, well, Wake, you had a good run, this whole undefeated for a little while thing. But this season, you're like, okay, came down to one play, double overtime. You live with those results and you keep it pushing. And there's still an opportunity to be, in the conversation when it's all said and done. So
Right.
crazier things have happened. But yeah, so that leaves the number one team being
Clemson.
the Clemson Tigers, based on
And I
consistency.
have been getting I've you can go back and find your comments that say it, but like I've seen the comments that people are upset that I keep putting Clemson at number one. And I'm
Who else would you put? That's the thing.
right. You gotta, if you're gonna go for the king, you best not miss, right?
Yeah.
And people have not been able to go for the king and knock him out yet. So I have not seen, until I see Clemson go down this year, they are the top of the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
And if NC State knocks them down, then this is going to be a big week. But I don't know. They're playing like a team that's a borderline playoff team right now.
Well, what's crazy about NC State and Clemson is the fact that Clemson is allowing more points than NC State's defense,
Right.
but Devin Leary isn't doing as well as DJU, which is totally not how you thought the season going.
Right.
And so to me, I'm just like anything can, and it's so close. Like, I mean, it's by tens and 15 of yards, but I just really am interested to see how NC State does in that environment, because they don't do well necessarily on the road. Like last year, I'm thinking about going to Mississippi State, thinking about going to Miami. Like, can they win in a very hostile environment? Right. That would show me that there is growth with this NC State team, which everyone knows I picked them to win the whole kit and caboodle. So I would love for y'all to figure it out in this respect. But, it's going to be one of the best games. I'm excited too, like you said, putting it on the calendar and trying to figure out how they, ultimately can get it done for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna finish my day work after BC loses to Louisville by like 25 points. Just put that to the side and close Twitter as everyone yells at me for some reason for apparently I'm BC football. And then I'm gonna go watch some good football games and
you deserve. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn Jobs helps you not only find the right candidates, but it's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. So if you head to linkedin.com right now /LockedOnCollege, that's linkedin.com /LockedOnCollege, you can post your job for free. Now remember, terms and conditions do apply. We're wrapping up the show here with AJ Black of Locked On Boston College. He talks about Boston College each and every day. And, as we're looking at some of these, comments from you guys, and of course we talked about my man from Miami. We talked about Georgia, Jeff Collins and Georgia Tech. There it is. Figuring it out, moving along, all the things. There wasn't any real comments as crazy about your rankings this week, and I think there won't be any after this one because it's pretty straightforward. I would say, though, how excited are you as an Atlantic Division person to really get rid of these divisions? Because it feels like every week we talk about Atlantic, and then at the bottom of the pack, there goes the Coastal, which is so, so sad.
I've said this all along. As someone who covers it, like I am looking forward to seeing BC and like those matchups again. Like instead of having to wait 10 years or whatever it is to see BC and Miami every year, you see oh God, that's a nightmare this year. I just had a really bad vision when I saw that one. I was like, oh, okay. But anyways, the fact that we won't have the same matchups over and over and over and over again, I think really will freshen things up because even for the fan base, right? Like you look at the schedule, and you're like, yep, it's the year we get NC State at home, Louisville at home. It's like the same thing every year, but now it's like, oh, we get Miami, we get Pitt this year. This is gonna it's like freshens things up and it keeps it makes it more novel. And like the Atlantic is playing better than the Coastal, and it's been like that for like I don't know how many years. It seems I know Pitt won last year. You don't have to tweet me this. I know, but like it kind of just it kind of shuffles the deck a little bit more, and I
Yeah.
think that makes the conference a little bit more novel and more fun.
Yeah, and I think ultimately right now we're talking about Pitt. Pitt's still to me the leader of the Coastal.
Yeah.
But as much as people want to get on me, like don't sleep on Duke. They can ruffle some feathers because it's
Mhm.
anybody's game. You can be Virginia Tech based off the strength of winning certain uh what you call it conference matchups. It could be North Carolina based off that strength. They facing off this weekend. So that will be a very big determining factor. You also have Miami, who well, Lord knows which team you're going to get there. So it's anybody's game when it comes to the Coastal. I think that makes it fun if you like stress, but Atlantic feels very much more a lot of high stakes, a lot of things. If you want to have the championship in your hand, you got to win your division here. And so
Yep.
there's a lot of great football down this stretch. But it's always a pleasure to have you, AJ, here on the show. Can you please remind these folks where they can find you, follow your work?
Yeah, thank you for asking, Candace. You can follow me on Locked On BC. I have a strong following of Florida State fans and Rutgers fans that seem to want to constantly comment on everything I write, which
They'll never go away.
Louisville fans, you're out there, you can join in too. I'm
Yeah.
happy to have you. Clicks are clicks, right? And I picked Florida State to beat BC by like 30. So it's not that like that I'm being a homer or anything, but whatever.
Sure.
But I'm also the editor and publisher of 247 Sports, Eagle Insider. Come on over, join our message board, read all our stuff, be a VIP member. You get exclusive access to me. And as funny as I can be on here, I do have tons of sources. I have good recruiting information. I'm connected to Boston College and all sorts of different sources outside. So if you want BC recruiting news, check me out there.
No doubt about it, guys. Come back tomorrow. Alex Donner, Locked On Canes. I cannot wait to talk to him about Middle Mississippi State. And we've got more of the trap game Thursday. So where could they get caught up? He's clearly an experienced person to speak on this topic. So we'll have to have him. And then Friday, you'll have Freestyle Friday with Drizzy Drake. Looking forward to it for Candace Cooper and AJ Black. Until next time.